I don't really care to do reviews of products, but every once in a while you run across something that you kind of want to share. So I've used a Dremel quite a bit over the years, and Dremel has been very good to me. When I get one that goes bad, they always make it easier to get a new one. Easier than going to the store to get a new one. A couple of years ago, several years ago, I wanted something a little faster. I got this little devil. It's a CP, Chicago Pneumatics. Something tells me that they're no longer made in Chicago. It doesn't say, it says US designed. This Dremel was made in Mexico, so that's kind of okay. Of course, we're always trying to avoid made in China. Well, in earlier this year, we went to the International Manufacturing Technology Show. IMTS used to be the International Machine Tool Show in Chicago. And one of the things I saw that caught my eye was this little devil. So Dedeco, I guess, I'm not even sure how to pronounce it. They have more or less bought or somehow acquired the name Moto Tool. That used to be a hand grinder that I think is associated with Dremel going way back decades, but neither here nor there. I just wanted to demonstrate how these tools compare one to the other. So I'm going to start out with the Dremel here. I'm just going to run it for a second. Now this is one that's pretty old, okay? And I never got it replaced, or I replaced it, but I never got rid of this one. It's kind of like my second string Dremel, so pretty loud. And of course, you have to be plugged in somewhere. The CP, now I don't know what the max RPMs on this one is. I think it's, I don't know what it is. Not incredibly high. The CP, fast and smooth. I think it says 90,000 or 60,000 RPMs on it. 60,000 RPMs. Pretty nice. A lot less noise. And that higher speed is useful because there's less tendency for the stone or the burr or whatever to grab and skate across something. But you have to be where there's compressed air. So this little devil, I've been using this for several months now. I picked it up after the tool show, which was in September, I believe. And watch what happens when you turn this on. Most times with my hearing, I can barely tell it's running. We're running at 35,000 RPMs right now. Pretty doggone fast, and you can dial it down to whatever you want. Now, to me, this is kind of like a, I don't know, let's say a 3.5 to 10 power rifle scope, or a 1 to 4, let's say a 1 to 4. I've never used one of those that I wasn't using at 1 or 4. It seems like there's never a situation where you need 2 or 3 or 2.5 or 3 1/4. It's 1 or it's 4. Same thing with this thing. The way I've been using it, I turn it on, I just bottom it out at 35 because there's really, slower is not better in any situation. Now I have the same stone in all three of these, and it's an awfully rough stone, kind of a crude one. I've never really even used these that I recall, although they look used. But I'm just going to use them to kind of compare the amount of torque we have. I think the Dremel is probably going to be the torque winner, probably followed up by this one, and the Moto Tool probably is going to be the easiest one to stall. But for most of what this would be used for, and their marketing is really towards jewelry, but for most of what it would be used for, I think it has adequate torque. I've used it for several things that I never should have used it for. Really, really crude stuff, just to see what would happen, and we'll go into some clips of that. But so let's do a little torque limit test here. Let me start out with what I think is going to be the best in terms of what it takes to stall. Okay. I almost couldn't stall that. Let's try the CP. Yeah, fairly easy to stall, although in actual use, I've never come close to stalling it. So it's been perfectly adequate. Okay, let's try the little double here. Pretty easy to stall, but that's not all there is to it. With the Dremel, I've got to find my little wrench every time I want to change the stone or the burr. With the CP, I have to have two wrenches, one to turn the collet head and the other one to lock the spindle. Both of those are pretty unhandy. Here's something I really like about this one. So we got the bit in there good and solid, off, change it out, right on. It's in there good and solid. If I want to change it out, right on. Why am I saying right on? Because that's just what I've come up with to remind myself which way to turn the darn thing to lock it in. So right on. Let's do another little job with the Moto Tool. I'm just going to get a little rouge on here. And just put a little shine on the ramp of this 45 barrel here. Let's see here. Not that they really have to be a mirror finish, that's kind of a myth. It's all about the geometry, the angle and the shape and everything. Now I'm doing this is not a magazine cover job here. A little more stuff. So for an application like this, which is more like the kind of thing I'm going to use it for, it's totally enough power. Let me see if I can stall it. I really have to work at it. So let's see here. Not that great polish on this indicates whether or not the tool is good. It's not perfect, but it was good enough before, so I'm pretty sure it's good enough now. Now, what if I accidentally unlock the collet while it's running? It just shuts it off. It's trying to go, but it knows it shouldn't go. It does have, in addition to the rheostat, I can also run it backwards. I'm just going to go from forward to backward. Probably not good for it, but you can see it stopping and reversing direction. I have no idea what that would be good for. I don't see myself ever using that, and I'm probably just going to put a piece of duct tape over that, because I have on occasion accidentally turned it on to reverse, and suddenly my carbide burr is not cutting, and I'm wondering why. So it has a, let me just turn that off. It has a charging port here. This one I haven't figured it out. I don't know, earphones or something. I'm not really sure what that's for. And of course I haven't read the directions. It has a kind of a turn lock dealy bob here. Not a turn lock, but I'm not sure what that's called. That style of connection. Neither here nor there. But what I like about this is I can take this anywhere in the shop and stick it in my front pocket or my apron pocket, and I've got a hand tool with me. Very handy in that way. Cut. So the final word on this thing, here's the box that came in. I can't find anywhere on this tool where it's made. I'm guessing the worst. Doesn't mean it's a bad product, but for me it's been a very good product. I have charged this thing only once when I first got it. I've used it a considerable amount since then. It hasn't needed a charge. Here's the charger that came with it. What else? Price. Well, before I talk about the price, okay, the price is $4.95, so it's very expensive. The collet, you can get this tool with an 1/8 inch collet or a 3/32 collet. You don't get to change the collets out. I'm not sure why that is. I got the 1/8 inch one because that's what I use mostly. And I think most people use that, maybe outside of the jewelry biz. I did order some collet adapters, not from these guys. They don't offer it. And I never got them, so I don't know what happened there. But I do have some little tiny bits with 3/32 shanks and 1/16 shanks. I've got a couple that I nabbed from the dentist last time I was there. I wanted to try those. And the final thing, price $4.95. I know that's expensive, but when I turn this thing on, I very often don't even know that it's on. And the convenience of it, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Oh, it's because the collet was unlocked. It's almost noiseless. That's of value. Now again, the Dremel tool that I showed earlier, it's an old one. The bearings are bad. And the final thing, just a lot of convenience. I haven't seen any downsides to it yet. So, right on.